Epicentre exposed Kerala's school of morality. 48 hours on, the victim's friend speaks out. The victims expose the school on Epicentre. 2 students scarred for life for hugging. The school gangs up to punish 2 kids. Don't let this school of horror get away. Time your hug. The top story on Epicentre tonight.
Hello everyone, good evening. When an innocent, friendly hug becomes the reason for 2 young adults to be suspended from school, it is puritanical patriarchy at its worst. And when the school goes a step further and slut shames a young girl for hugging her schoolmate and goes to the extent of questioning the moral character of her mother, then you know there is a serious moral crisis, not with these students, not with the parents, but with the people who run the school. It is a story that is raising tempers in Kerala. Is it really a decorum versus morality debate? That is our top story on Epicentre this evening. Joining us on the show are both the students for the first time on television. They are the ones who were abused, harassed and victimized for hugging by a school that doesn't really know the difference between discipline and moral policing. India needs to hear their voices because their account is chilling. It exposes a feudal mindset that is best left to the 16th century.
I have tried getting admission in another school because the principal of St. Thomas had called my dad and talked to him about this, of me taking PC from St. Thomas and going and joining another school. When I tried to join another school, St. Thomas had blocked my education over there too. They had informed the new school that my moral side is bad and I have done such kind of things in their school. The school did harass us, and not just that, we gave them not just 1 or 2, we gave them around 5 to 6 apology letters, and we kept giving them for the pictures and the hugs. And now they claim that we haven't given them apology letters, which is again false and fake. When the boys' class teacher has informed secretary about this, and my parents were called to the school, me and my mom had visited the secretary. He harassed us in a lot of ways. He slut shamed me, like I already had told it once or twice or so many times. He slut shamed me. He shamed my family for bringing me this way, and that my family is also immoral just like me. That's what he has told. And also he has used sexually harassing words and very sexually demeaning words on me. And he kept saying that you're a girl, look what shame you're brought up with the family and you need to know all this. And he kept repeating it a lot of times, making me feel bad. He made my mom cry because he was using really abusive words. He called me a slut, he called my mom a slut, he called my whole family immoral. My sister is studying in the same school, and the school has harassed us, so we are really scared even now. We're really scared that they will do something to my little 7-year-old sister, and she's very small. She won't be able to take it at all. He wanted me to speak against the boy, and he made me write all this in a piece of paper. The first point was that the hug was forceful, and it was not with my consent. And he made me write it. He made me write it on a piece of paper, which was, of course, false, because the hug was with my consent. Because the hug that happened was a mutual hug. He's still my friend. Everything that happened was with my consent. And I still stand by that, and I will always stand by that. I hope that I can write my 11th grade exams, because that's my only point. And for my 12th grade, I don't really think that I want to join back to St. Thomas after all this harassment and after all that they've put me through.
You've heard her voice. Joining us this evening are both students who were suspended by the school in Kerala for hugging each other. I can't take your name, I can't show your face, but I'm going to thank both of you for joining us here from the Trivandrum studios. Thank you very much. Also joining me this evening is Tarya Sharma. She's a psychologist. Thank you, Tanya, for being here, and Acharya Vikramaditya. I want to come to you first. I can't take your name, so can I just call you Ravi and Sneha? That will make it easier for me to at least understand who I'm speaking to and for me to address you. Sneha, can I come to you first? In the phoner that you've given to our correspondent Neetu Regukumar, you tell us that after the entire hugging incident, where both of you are suspended for hugging each other, the school calls you, you go to the school, you apologize, and that is where you are abused and slut-shamed. I want to ask you, what exactly was it that the school's secretary told you?
Well, when me and my mom, we had visited the secretary on the call, like he asked us to go to school. He called me a slut, like I had already said, and he called me a word in Malayalam which means prostitute, and he kept shaming my family, and he kept saying that the way I was brought up was not how you're supposed to bring girls up, and he also harassed my mom. He kept harassing my mom, and both me and my mom, we both cried, we apologized, and he did not show any mercy. He just kept harassing us, and he kept going on our families, and
Sneha,
he
when you
touched
say,
me, and he said all sexually demeaning kind of words.
Sneha, when you say he abused your mother as well and used sexually demeaning words, can you tell us what exactly he said? Because there is no point trying to protect people who don't deserve this protection.
Well, he called me a Veshi in Malayalam, and he also he said this to my mom that when you're bringing up children, you're supposed to bring them in a certain way, and the way you are doing is how you bring prostitutes up. He said this to me and my mom in front of me, and my mom had started crying, and she asked him to forgive me, and she also asked him to stop abusing the both of us, because it was a lot for a mother or a child to take it in. But he did not stop there. He just kept doing the same thing over and over again.
Sneha, weren't you angry? Didn't it anger you? You're telling me you started crying, your mother started crying, but this was your school. This is your school. These were your teachers.
Yes.
These are people you know. And when they are calling you, when they are slut shaming you and calling you a prostitute and telling your mother that the way she has brought you up is the way someone brings up a prostitute, was there no anger? Or was there just helplessness?
There was anger, but I, with all my respect, I respected him in such a way. And even though I was angry, it mostly just disappointed me, and that's why I could not react to it, because I was part of the school and I was being suspended for something, and he just kept saying that what I did was wrong, and I could not speak up.
You also have told our reporter, and I want you to elaborate on this before I come to Ravi, you have also told our reporter that you were forced to sign a letter that said that the hug that you gave your schoolmate Ravi was not consensual, that he essentially forced himself on you, you didn't want it, correct? And what was your response to that?
Yes. So when my mom and me were called to the secretary's office, he asked us to write. He asked me to write 2 points on a piece of paper, and if that I had written it against the boy, I would be taken back to school. And that's what he said. And once he asked me to speak up in such a way that the hug was forceful and without my consent, and even when the teacher saw it, he did not leave me. Even though I wrote it down, I just wrote it down for proof, and I could see myself that I can never lie about it. So immediately I left the room when he kept forcing me and manipulating me to keep the paper over there and go. And even when I asked him, I need to go home and think about it, he did not listen. He just kept saying that you wrote the paper, you wrote this here, you're supposed to keep it, and you have to go, And I did not listen, I just stormed out of the room.
But you continued to maintain that there was nothing wrong in that hug. It was simply a friendly show of affection, that there was nothing sexual about it, and that it was absolutely consensual.
Yes, because the hug was mutual. We are really close friends, and the very day when that happened, it was a congratulatory hug which lasted for only 2 seconds, and I never said anything against the boy in school, nor will I ever say that, because it was a mutual hug, and I still agree to that.
Ravi, would you say this is, your school, and we did try and get in touch with your school. We requested them to come and represent themselves and their point of view on the show. They refused. I can understand, because I'm sure they would have nothing to say. I want to ask you this. Does your school just simply not understand the difference between discipline and moral policing? And essentially what they were trying to do is moral policing. This wasn't a case of discipline or indiscipline or decorum at all.
The thing is, I would like to express the fact that, like Sneha said earlier, that the secretary tried to manipulate her and tried to make false evidences against me. They asked her to give a statement saying that the hug was forceful and without my consent. From these acts itself, we can understand that the school is trying to portray me like a criminal, like a rapist, like a pervert. And I don't know what justification the school is gonna give to this, but I think I'm being targeted and I'm being harassed by the school. I don't know why or whatsoever, but I am really sad that the school is torturing and harassing me like this, and even denying me my fundamental rights, that is my right to education and my right to privacy.
So Ravi and Tanya, a quick question to you, and your voice, it's important for us to hear your voice, because your voice and your story is exposing the puritanical patriarchy that still exists in this country, where giving a hug is considered to be criminal, akin to rape, but a country where marital rape, well, that still hasn't been outlawed. So there's a certain hypocrisy there that your story is exposing. I quickly want to ask both Sneha and Ravi, do you remain suspended? Have you been allowed to give your exam? Or is there a scare and a real worry that you may not be able to write your exams?
I was not able to write my exams, nor am I supposed to write exams, because as the secretary and principal has said earlier in media that I am no longer their responsibility, and the things happening right now, all they can do is make the boy write the exam, and but then a month back, the same school had asked me, had told me and my parents that they would take us back and they would let me write exams if I spoke against the boy. But after 1 month, when this became a media issue, now they're saying silly reasons like I didn't give my TC, nor did I submit, nor did I pay the fee.
Sneha,
but
are you telling me?
I have paid the first term fees.
Are you telling me, Sneha?
The second term.
Are you telling me that for a 5-second hug, your school will ensure that you waste a year?
Yes, that's exactly that's happening. Because
Shameful.
even now I think that 1 month back they asked me to write against the boy. But now they're saying that I am no longer their responsibility. Isn't that enough proof to say that they're playing a game? Because who even says that? Isn't it like really obvious that the school is... They talk about culture. They talk about culture a lot. But what culture do they have when they slut shame me and when they harass me and when they keep doing it? What kind of culture is that? Is that Indian culture to abuse a girl?
I'm going to put that question to Vikramaditya, Acharya Vikramaditya, who is with me. And Sneha and Ravi, I want you to be here. Is this Indian culture? Where you slut shame a student who's in class 11, you tell her mother that she's bringing up her daughter the way prostitutes are brought up.
I think
is this Indian culture?
No, this is not a matter of Indian culture. Basically, I think school is totally guilty in this case. Schools are supposed to make a brighter future. These are the students, not the criminals. You have to understand this thing. So this is totally a different matter. You are not using the things. If something wrong has been done by these students.
But do you think hugging was wrong? Their hugging each other in school was wrong?
Certainly.
Because that is the point of view of the
You
school.
have to understand
They're
this.
saying they did it deliberately. It was sexual.
Even as per the Constitution of India, hugging is highly objectionable in the school and any public place.
And in the Constitution of
I'm
India,
clearly saying in this
seriously?
matter. Seriously,
The Constitution of India tells you not to hug each other, Acharya Vikramaditya.
As per the
Please,
section,
please don't insult our intelligence.
This is the page. This
Don't
is the IPC.
insult our
No,
intelligence.
this is the page. This is the IPC section 292 of the IPC. It clearly says the things which is obscenity. This is obscenity. Hugging is certainly obscenity.
Hugging is an obscenity.
Certainly yes. Certainly yes.
By what definition?
This is the definition which you can read. I am giving you the direction. 292 is a section of the IPC which clearly says this thing.
Kya nahi, says what? Says what, Acharya Vikramaditya? I quickly need to give you a hug.
No.
I quickly need to give you a hug and become a criminal so that you can file a case.
It is not a matter of
case against
It
me.
is not a
What
matter
are
of
you saying? Are you trying to tell me that hugging is a crime in this country?
I am clearly saying this thing. This school is has done the wrong thing. You're not supposed to take these kinds of action. You are supposed to build make the future. We are sending our children to the school for the bright future. So these children are not the criminals. So why they are filing case in the court? They should have जिस लेवल पे आज केस पहुंचा होना ही नहीं चाहिए था भाई.
बट आप किस तरफ से आर्ग्यू कर रहे हैं मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. आचार्य विक्रमादित्य, आप ये कह रहे हैं स्कूल इज रॉन्ग, देन यू आर सेइंग हगिंग इज अ क्रिमिनल एक्ट अंडर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ दिस कंट्री, व्हिच आई मीन व्हाट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन यू आर रीडिंग? आई डोंट नो. Are you reading the constitution of Pakistan? It certainly doesn't say in the constitution of India that hugging is a criminal activity.
This is obscenity. This is obscenity.
It's not obscenity. Hugging is not obscenity. Let me put that to you, Ravi. Do you think hugging is an obscenity? That what you did was obscene?
No, this was just a congratulatory hug. How can it even be obscene? It's like after this Western music competition took place, we were walking down the stairs. This girl asked me how she performed. In that happy, impulsive mood, I hugged her and told her she performed well. How is that even obscene? And on the basis of this hug, the school has been taking actions, saying that it has been corrective actions and have been denying my basic fundamental rights, that is my right to education and the right to privacy. They have hacked into my private space, that is my private Instagram account, took these photos, took printouts of these screenshots and circulating it with the view to tarnish my character. And they have been blackmailing me with these photos.
The school has not done anything good for the students. This is a wrong thing which school is doing.
Sneha, do you think what you did was obscene? Because Acharya Vikramaditya here seems to think that hugging is obscene. He is also showing me some paper and saying the Constitution of India doesn't allow hugging, it's criminal. I don't know what constitution he is reading. It's certainly not the Constitution of India.
But
do you think in hindsight it was a mistake that what you did was obscene?
Hugging is not obscene, and especially a congratulatory hug which lasted for 2 or 3 seconds can never be obscene. It was just out of appreciation, and I hope that people can understand that, because how can a hug that lasts for 2 seconds even mean something else other than just appreciation?
You know, Tanya Sharma, by sexualizing, it's just a hug.
Sexual, it's just a hug.
It's just a hug, and the problem is in the mind of the school and its authorities when they sexualize an innocent hug. This was an innocent hug by all accounts. We have both the girl and the boy saying it. The problem is with the school. The problem is not with these students.
It's a co-educational school, and we should understand that girls and boys are equal. If there are 2 students who are hugging each other, as she said, congratulating, I don't understand why it should be considered obscene. There are school plays, on Teachers' Day students dance. Isn't that considered, it should be considered obscene for that matter. So in fact, a lot of things happen in schools. Let me not talk about that. A lot of things do not come out. And considering a hug which as per them is just 2 seconds, a congratulatory hug, I don't understand.
Even if it was 15 seconds. It doesn't matter. And would such a hue and cry have been raised?
Teachers hug students.
Yeah, teachers hug students.
Should that be obscene?
You know, 2 male students will hug each other,
Absolutely.
2 female students will hug each other. Since when is that a crime? You know, but I have to tell you, Sneha and Ravi, your school has a bit of a history with moral policing. I have Joe Adam John, who's an alumni of the same Thomas School, and he seems to have had a problem as well with school authorities. Joe, go ahead and tell us what had exactly happened with you in the school.
Sure. I'll just take. I won't stick to the specifics as such, but my incident was quite similar to what the current students are facing, and honestly speaking, this is a problem with some of the teachers and school authorities by and large. I won't say that. I don't believe that this is a institutional problem per se. Because when I was there were teachers that, you know, who I thought they were really good and I really looked up to them, and who just went about their business, and that was teach and reprimand if necessary. However, there are some teachers in several instances with not just me but other fellow students as well, where they have come about moral policing us, about our behavior, about what we should wear, how we should wear, you know, what we, I mean, if we could talk to each other or not. And there was this really frivolous incident where I remember with a classmate of mine where he was told to maintain a one-arm distance with a girl student so that he doesn't end up brushing her. So in my case too, I mean, I've faced instances where on Valentine's Day I've had my bags checked, and these were surprise checks, by the way. And because I was dating a girl, they even had me had my bag checked occasionally. I was told to bring my bag, take my bag to the principal's office to check for love letters that I could have possibly received or written to the girl. There was also one thing I wanted to just bring out, which I found really hilarious, was I've heard the school authorities, the secretary and the principal being, insisting that these two kids had gone about, taking printouts of their photos, Instagram
Correct.
photos, and posting it, and sharing it publicly. Tell me, why would these students go through such pains of taking printouts
And what
of
business?
their private photos when they
What
could have
business
actually
does a school have of
when they
hacking
could have
into
actually
someone's
made their,
account
accounts
and taking
public?
out pictures and using them
mean-
against the students? What right does the school have to do something like that? Vikramaditya, Acharya Vikramaditya ji,
Exactly.
just a minute, Joe. I just want to take on Acharya Vikramaditya on one point. You were reading section 292 of the Indian Penal Code to me. Please read the whole thing again. You have a printout. I now have, my research team has just sent me an email. Where does it mention hugging? And
Obscenity.
if
Hugging is an obscenity.
Acha. So
Hugging is
Prime
an
Minister
obscenity.
Modi
No.
hugged Xi Jinping
You have
when
to
he came
understand
to
this thing.
India.
Hugging
एक
as
मिनट
per the
सुन
legal
लीजिए.
terms. Yeah.
तो सुन लीजिए. Prime Minister Modi publicly gets photographed hugging Xi Jinping, the president of China. That's fine.
That was clearly intention was just that intention was different.
No. How do you know that this intention was not different?
If the people have
Today,
violation, they
after
can.
Kanimoi's acquittal in the 2G scam, she was hugged by two politicians.
But the clearly
her colleagues.
No. You have to understand
Her
this thing.
colleagues, no, that was a
As
crime
per
as
the-
well. That
as
was an
per-
obscene act as well. So politicians can hug, Prime Minister Modi can hug, Kanimoi can hug, players on the cricket field can hug after making a century.
You have to see
but
the
two
intentions.
students
You have
cannot
to see
hug.
the intentions of the students first.
But what was the intention of the students? आपको
If they
बता
are
तो
saying,
रहे हैं ना?
no, if they are saying this thing, I am totally accepting that. I think in this case, school is seem to me a psycho.
The school seems to be a psycho. I do think the school, there's a problem with the school.
There's a problem with the school.
The way they
Basically,
have
they are
dealt
not
with the
supposed
case
to-
now,
they're not- school
reprimanding the
authority is totally
students, not
psycho.
allowing them to give their examinations, it shows that something is wrong at their part. They are
But-
trying to prove something
But
which
what
probably does not
is
exist.
the Kerala government doing sitting on a story like this? This is ridiculous. The school is being run by a set of psychos who don't understand the pulse of the young people who are under their care. What is the Kerala government doing? Are you, Sneha and Ravi, I'm going to give the last word to you, because as I speak about it and as the details come out, I'm getting angry and agitated. Are you surprised that the government you choose, I know both of you are not in a position to vote right now, maybe in the next year or a couple of years. Are you surprised and upset and angry that your government is sitting silently on something like this and not talking about it and coming to your aid?
Yes, absolutely. We are sad about this case. but after this issue has been brought up by the media, we have been getting a lot of emotional as well as social support, even from our schoolmates, our classmates, our parents, other people, as well as politicians. Example, Shashi Tharoor sir, he posted a tweet for us and he is supporting us.
Sneha,
So we are like, we have been getting relief from all these people, and only because of the support we are receiving from these people, we are standing up for ourselves and we are fighting for our rights to write the exam, for our education, and to not tamper with our future.
Sneha,
I can't afford to lose a year over a simple hug that I gave my friend on the basis of congratulating her.
Correct, I agree
As a
with
token
you.
of appreciation. And people are saying, and people are sexualizing it, giving it raunchy meanings. This is not acceptable. This is like pure injustice.
Sneha, are you disappointed with the attitude of the Kerala High Court?
Very disappointed, in fact, because I think that a hug is never a crime, and I expected the High Court to say something for us and not against us, and the High Court hasn't done anything that totally supports us and that gives the school a proper statement that asks them to take us back to school, because I feel like we are being punished for 5 months for just a simple hug. They could have just ended it. They could have, if that was against the school rules, they could have just told us in a nice way and asked us to not repeat it, and not, because this is not the way you teach discipline. If you suspend 2 students on the basis of a hug, what are you going to tell your children? What are you going to tell
This
the next
was not
generation
Sneha.
of people?
Sneha.
Are you going to tell them that, you know what, I got suspended from school for 5 months over a hug?
Sneha, you know, this is not about discipline. The school wasn't trying to discipline you. This was moral policing. This was moral policing. This was puritanical patriarchy at its worst. That is what this was. This was not about decorum or discipline. Let's hope good sense prevails and both of you are allowed to give your exams. I don't know what your government is doing. I don't know what your chief minister is doing, but if he's listening to this broadcast, I hope he has the good sense of telling the school, instructing the school to let both of you take your exams and revoke that suspension. I'll leave it there. Sneha and Ravi, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It was important for India to hear your voice. It was important for India to hear your story. Thank you very much. Joe, joining us from Bangalore, thanks very much. Acharya Vikramaditya, at least on half the points today, you were on our side. I don't know why you're saying that hugging is a criminal act. It is not under the Constitution of India. I'm correcting you here. And thank you very much for joining us as well. Okay, we've come to the end of the show and I'm grateful to everyone for not screaming and shouting today, unlike yesterday. We had a civilized debate. Thank you very much. With that, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show. Coming up next, a clean shit to A. Raja and Kanimoy and all the others 15 accused in the 2G scam. The question is, all the questions that are now being raised against the CBI. That's coming up next. Do stay with us. Welcome back. It was a scam that brought down the UPA government, but turns out it wasn't a scam at all. A CBI special court today acquitted former Telecom Minister A. Raja, DMK MP Kanimoy and 15 others in the 30,000 crore rupee 2G scam. Judge O.P. Saini said the case was all about public perception created by rumour, gossip and speculation, and that the CBI based its charge sheet mainly on misreading, selective reading, non-reading and out of context reading of the official records. Take a look.
1.76 lakh crore, call it the scam that wasn't. For more than 7 years, this man was seen as the face of mega corruption. The corruption that became Narendra Modi's campaign plank against the UPA for 2014 or for Gujarat earlier this month. The graft that gave rise to Anna Hazare's movement marred multiple reputations, including that of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh himself. The list of fallouts runs deep and long. Then this morning, a turnaround like no other in this century or likely ever before. All 18 accused in the 31,000 crore 2G scam acquitted. Details of Judge Saini's order spell it out. CBI miserably failed to prove charges beyond reasonable doubt. Quality of prosecution totally deteriorated and it became directionless and diffident. Everybody was going by public perception created by rumor, gossip and speculation. This has no place in judicial proceedings. The political ramifications are earth-shaking, most prominently, of course, as vindication for individuals directly having worn the corruption taint for 7 years and more.
He said it's a big relief to him politically and personally also, and he was very happy, and my father was very happy too. This is a false case. We've been falsely accused. The party has suffered, people have suffered, and the cadres have suffered.
This is great. Definitely will come very strong. I have to sign the bond now. Formally, let it be over. What about your book? Don't worry.
The 2G scam, remember, was the most prominent of the graft mire that brought the UPA to its knees. Congressmen see today's judgment as an exoneration. Kapil Sibal, who was laughed at for his zero-loss justification, uses it as ammunition to hit out, as he trains guns on the then CAG Vinod Rai, who first raised the 1.76 lakh crore figure.
हम लिख के देना चाहते हैं कि भाजपा को हम सर्टिफिकेट देते हैं झूठी पार्टी का.
Politically is also very significant because it shows that the BJP is very often wrong. They made a huge issue about this, supposed to be the biggest scam in the history of the country. And what did we see instead? We see that there was no scam.
Then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, whose clean reputation has come under a cloud with the 2G scam, finds a voice too.
I'm glad that the court has pronounced unambiguously that all this massive propaganda which was being done against the UPA was without any foundation.
For the government of the day, no denying the 2G verdict declaring UPA not guilty could stand as a political setback of sorts. But the crux of the BJP argument is just because the CBI didn't prove it doesn't mean there was no scam. BJP leaders cite the 2012 Supreme Court order cancelling allocation of 2G licenses. They point to the judgment that said licenses for 2G spectrum were granted in an arbitrary and unconstitutional manner, besides the higher prices from subsequent spectrum auctions.
Congress party leaders are treating this judgment as some kind of a badge of honor. In 2007 and 8, spectrum was being allocated by the UPA government on basis of 2001 prices.
And what it boils down to is this. This was just the first verdict, with clear signals of a long legal road ahead.
Judge Saini's judgment is a very bad judgment, and it has to be appealed.
The ripples of today's verdict also extend to humongous and multi-layered political ramifications for the road to 2019. At the top there, wooing the DMK in Tamil Nadu after they went from tainted pariah to most favoured potential ally in a jiffy, literally. With EPS-OPS in a shambles, willing Kalagnar becomes critical to inroads in that state. Suddenly, the Congress that had talked of keeping an arm's length and more when the scam broke is making overtures. Rahul Gandhi and Ghulam Nabi Azad and Anand Sharma are out to woo again, with positive signals from the other side too.
We were together and we are now also together. The Prime Minister visited our leader as a courtesy call. Since the tallest leader, Dr. Kalagnar, was indisposed, he just came to give his wishes.
The clean chit to Raja and company deals a body blow to the EPS-OPS combine and the future of the AIADMK. And the DMK becomes the most attractive ally of the day. And just that makes this meeting significant too. The direction and focus of Prime Minister Modi's calling on M. Karunanidhi in November make better sense now. It's almost like a new chapter set to get underway, with things headed in a direction as unbelievable as today's verdict.
7 years and 80,000 page charge sheet, and yet the CBI was unable to prove its case. Was there no scam at all, or is the CBI plain incompetent to deal with the job it has been entrusted with? Joining me this evening, Vikram Singh. He's a former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, and ML Sharma is a former Special Director of the CBI. Vikram Singh, I'll come to you in just... Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good to have you. Before I come to you, a quick question to ML Sharma. Mr. Sharma, 7 truckloads of evidence. 7 truckloads of evidence, 80,000 pages, and the court says there is no evidence, that the facts submitted are factually incorrect. The question is, what was the CBI doing for 7 years?
This judgment has come as anti-climax. So many of us who are on your show have not studied the judgment. I am midway through. There are basically 5 allegations which the CBI leveled. One was arbitrary fixing cutoff date, that is 25th of
yes, sir, we know
September 2007.
So we know all the
Second
5 charges on which the court had
So there
framed
were
the
5
entire case. My question to you is simple. Look at what, I
So,
understand
as I
that
said,
it's
it
a
has-
lengthy judgment, it's 1500 pages, but I've managed to put out, read some of it at least. Look at, and I want you to respond to this. I want you to respond about what the court is saying about the CBI. Judge O.P. Saini today is saying, religiously I sat in open court for the last 7 years from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. even during summer vacations, awaiting for someone with legally admissible evidence. Not a single soul, he says, turned up. A. Raja was not the motherlode of conspiracy, and the quality of prosecution totally deteriorated and became directionless towards the end. This is the country's top investigative agency, sir, that the court is talking about. Can you at any point defend it, coming as it does after the Arushi Hemraj murder botch-up, the Madhumita Shukla murder case, the Jessica Lal murder case? The list is long, sir.
Well, there are courts and courts, and we have a hierarchy of courts in our country. First the trial court, then the high court, and then the Supreme Court. So what you are reading out to me is like a poetic version of the whole events. If no evidence was produced before the honorable judge, then what for did he write 1500 pages? Well, don't go by the words, but the fact remains case has been acquitted. But
Vikram Singh,
only
respond
after
to that.
carefully going through a judgment, it should be possible.
Okay, Vikram Singh, just respond to that. Based on this very set of evidence, 80,000 pages, the Supreme Court cancelled 122 2G licenses, correct? The fact is there was evidence, is one argument that is being made.
Make no mistake.
Yeah, and the court has simply failed to appreciate it. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Make no mistake, Shreya, that the Supreme Court in 2012 said that it is arbitrary and unconstitutional, corrupt and dishonest. Was the Supreme Court wrong? Supreme Court is the highest platform of justice, and on the same matter the CVC ordered a CBI inquiry. The ED charge sheeted Raja and Kazimoni. A High Court judge of the Delhi High Court said that the allotment was illegal. In the backdrop of this, with all due respect to Judge Saini, I think it is a prosecution of the worst kind. And when you have this kind of a prosecution, the Judge Saini writes that they started with a lot of enthusiasm, but there was total lack of focus and energy in the subsequent days and years, and therefore I leave it to your imagination and judgment as to what might have possibly happened. The corruption cases and financial frauds are one of the easiest cases to prosecute because of the voluminous and incontrovertible documentary evidence, unlike body offences. And here, if somebody seems to have failed in this case, they have not only failed the case, they have failed the nation, because I refuse to believe for a moment that this was a difficult case to prosecute. There are other vested interests who were the string pullers in this case, and I think the CBI has already taken a decision to appeal to the higher court. Let us wait. As Mr. M.L. Sharma has said, the High Court is there, the Supreme Court is there. But I for a moment would not believe that there is not a single asset, a good and a service or an asset that has a market value as an asset. It doesn't come at a zero cost. And if it has been misused to the tune that the rate of 2001 were parceled off at 1734 crores instead of the usual market value, if this is not a fraud, then what is? I give you a one-liner.
Okay. The more worrying part, I don't have too much time on this debate, so a quick question to both of you. I hope you can be brief. The more worrying part is this plain incompetence, or was this, well, I won't say botch up, but was this incompetence deliberate? And would that be more worrying?
See, my response would be that if you go through a judgment, I have gone half of the judgment, and with all my experience, I say that on the same facts, two views are possible. And therefore,
Okay.
is only the first stage.
Okay.
Final word is yet to be said.
Okay, the final word on the 2G case is yet to be said. ML Sharma, Vikram Singh, thank you very much for joining us and giving us this quick perspective. Always good to have you on the show. With that, I'm slipping into a quick break. Coming up on the other side, the big reception in Delhi. That's the Virushka reception. We are going live to the venue. Do stay with us. Their big reception, ladies and gentlemen, is this evening in Delhi at the Taj Hotel. This is the Virushka reception we are talking about after that big fat wedding in Italy. That's Prime Minister Narendra Modi with Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli. They were there to personally deliver the invitation to him. Will he attend this evening's reception? We do not know, but at around 8:30 is when we are expecting a photo opportunity. 8:30 is when the reception starts. So we'll be going live across to the venue at 30. It's the party of the season. You don't want to miss it. All the details and the pictures right here. For the moment, I'm slipping into a quick break on the show with those pictures.